The Great Reset. What is it, really, and why is it happening now? Welcome back, everyone, and hi there if you're new. Whether you're a longtime student of our work, someone that has followed us from our previous channel, an advanced student of our private course, or completely new to our work, this piece is going to be huge, another big mind blower for everyone. And I'm completely fired up about it, so let's jump right into what is being called the Great Reset. We're going to find out what it really is and why it's happening now, in a way that you've likely never seen before. So let's get into it. Time to get lit. This is another topic that usually gets put into the shh theory bucket, much like the dead internet theory that we looked at in a previous video, and we'll likely be looking at again in light of what we're going to get into here with the Great Reset. And just like we learned with the dead internet theory, when you look into the Great Reset even a little bit, you realize that there's nothing theoretical about it. It's very real. Most who have heard anything about the Great Reset associate it with a man named Klaus Schwab, who wrote a book that was released, and get this, it was July of 2020, so just about 3 months into the whole Dorona drama. And that book had in the title, The Great Reset. So who is Klaus Schwab, the author of this book? Well, he's the founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum. And for those of you who don't know, the World Economic Forum is a group of quote-unquote global elites who put all their heads together and came up with a world plan for the worldwide economic recovery from all the impacts of Dorona, the shutdowns, and now the 2+ year lingering effects of all the rest that went with it. The World Economic Forum called this worldwide plan for economic recovery post-Dorona the Great Reset, same as what you can find in the title of Klaus Schwab's book, as you can see here on the World Economic Forum's own website. Now, when you look into what the Great Reset plan is all about, you're going to find out pretty quickly that, well, people who've looked into it as well pretty much sum it up with, well, they want you to own nothing and be happy. And there's no theory about it. That's basically what the Great Reset is. In it, you will find a plan that outlines much more surveillance, loss of basic privacy, much more heavily reliance of the big tech industry, with promise of robotics and AI replacing up to 20% of all jobs by 2030, much bigger governments, and much more governmental power worldwide going with it. And in the end, has you essentially owning no private property. But somehow, you'll be happy about it anyway, because of the promise of universal basic income that's wrapped up in all of this. This is part of the new capitalism type economy that they've envisioned. And no, I'm not kidding. Capitalism is what the United Nations calls it. This was all being put forward, mind you, in response to the Dorona economic impacts, just 3 months into it. The Great Reset was published then by Klaus Schwab in July of 2020 and outlines in it this ready to go, all put together by the world's economic elite minds just 3 months into the Dorona drama. Now, in my opinion, and this part is just my opinion, but I think that anyone with a sane mind would take one look at this Great Reset plan and know immediately that it's insane and will result in nothing but a disastrous existence for all of us people who aren't the global elites. And even beyond that, this isn't just some misguided plan put forward by a bunch of global elites that are just out of touch with how us regular non-elite folk live their lives. No, this is fully intentional. This creation of a disastrous, miserable existence for the non-elite folk all over the earth is exactly what they're having in mind. And it's obvious that this plan was in the works long before the Rona drama began. So when you actually look into it, why, I encourage you to do, as always, you should look into things that you're being told about or shown to verify it for yourself. But in all of that, I don't recommend that you support even a little bit this awful Great Reset plan by even doing something small like buying Klaus Schwab's book to read it. If you want to read it, just head down to your local public library and check it out there. I don't think the executive chairman of the World Economic Forum needs any of your money. All right, so with all of that said, now that you know just a little bit about what this World Economic Forum idea of the Great Reset is, what does this all have to do with the sky story and everything that we've only just began to look at and teaching you about here on our channel? Well, as it turns out, it has everything to do with it, as you're now going to see for the rest of this piece. So far in our journey in learning alternative astronomy, we've been focusing mainly on learning the star constellations and how to identify them in the night sky, and have also just started to look into both the sun's and the moon's paths and cycles. It's time now to bring in the role of the planets, because everything here together have huge roles to play in the real show, which is what all these major events that are going on in the screens on your TVs, computers, and phones are really all about. The Great Reset, as it's being called, is the way that this cult of actors are acting out on the world stage their completely insane interpretations and imaginations of what is actually happening in the real heavens that cycle above all of our heads every day and every night, as you will clearly see for yourself. What we're looking at here are each of the 7 visible with unaided eyes luminaries and their cycles. In other words, how long does it take for each luminary to travel along its path that it takes in the sky and return to the same place from which you began tracking it at? The only way to track this is by looking at the star constellations in the background of the luminaries to track its path. This is why we've started learning the star constellations here on our channel first. But more specifically, we've been learning the star constellations that are found in one very special place in the sky. A place that we've discovered is the secret decoder ring to unlock countless mysteries. That special place in the sky we've nicknamed the real oracle or the real all-seeing eye. This place in the sky is so special because it is the one area of the sky that no matter where you live down here on the ground, when you look up at it, everyone will be looking at the same thing. The real oracle or the real all-seeing eye is also where you'll find all the star constellations of the zodiac, the sun, the moon, and all the known planets travel along. In other words, it's most of the big celestial action. It's occurring right here. This is the real world stage, the real world screen in which all of the best and brightest of the real stars appear. And it's also the place we've discovered this same insane cult of people mirror or act out that celestial action right here on the ground through those TV and computer and phone screens that most of us are looking at instead of looking up. This is happening every single day and every single night, where we have people believing all over the world in these stories, just like any other followers of any other religion you could think of. And this same insane cult of people are acting these things out in a really bad way for all of us. The real Great Reset that is happening very soon is in the sky. All right, so as you can see now, these are the individual cycles, or the length of time it takes each luminary to circle back around the real oracle or the real all-seeing eye in the sky to get back to the same place or to the same star constellation you began tracking it in. The most already know that the sun's cycle is 365 and a quarter days, approximately, right, in a year. This is what sets our calendar year, is known as a solar year. The moon's, Mercury's, and Venus's cycles, as you can see, are all shorter than the solar year, meaning the moon, Mercury, and Venus are moving faster along the arc of the ecliptic than does the sun. And as you can see, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn cycles are all longer than the sun's. So those are all the 7 visible to the unaided eyes luminaries' cycles. And then here are the other 2 luminaries that we call planets, Neptune and Uranus' cycles. Those planets you do need a telescope to see. And their cycles, as you can also see, are much longer. Or in other words, they are much slower moving around the arc of the ecliptic from our perspective here on the ground than any of the visible without any telescope luminaries are. And finally, the cycle of what we used to be taught in school was the 9th planet in what we call our solar system, Pluto. And I said used to be taught because since 2006, the International Astronomical Union downgraded Pluto to a dwarf planet. Reason being because, well, Pluto is just too small in relation to the other celestial objects in its area. But we're going to have a bonus for you at the end if you stick around to find out the real reason that Pluto got this recent downgraded status, and it has everything to do with this Great Reset. So we're looking at this chart here of the cycles of each luminary. None, as you can see, are the same, though they're all found traveling in the same area of the sky, along the same arc of the ecliptic that crosses the north-south meridian line area. But each of them move at their own pace from our perspective here on the ground. So in other words, that's a lot of different moving parts, right? And to sync them up would probably not occur very often. And you'd be correct in realizing that it isn't very often that you would be finding all of these luminaries moving each at their own paces, syncing up to be seen all at the same time and in the same place, because it is very rare. Now, if you look this up, you'll find the experts saying that it's so rare as to basically never happen. And they're looking at different parameters when they're giving this information. And I've tried looking this up in any way I could think of to get an actual answer I could find on this. And after doing my own research and observations, I found nothing from any of the experts explaining even how rare this is. This event that we're all going to be able to see in the sky above all of our heads coming very soon, specifically on the summer solstice of the year we commonly call 2022. This is the real reason the Great Reset, as it's being called, is happening now, where the old contracted ways of doing, quote, business here on the ground is being ended or revenued into a new contract and a new set of laws for us both economically and socially, if, that is, we go about doing business as usual in accepting a new normal with this. It's because this rare event of the real Great Reset is in the sky, and it's happening on the dawn of the summer solstice in the Northern Hemisphere of the year 2022. And I couldn't believe when I looked at this that no one else anywhere is talking about this. Every single visible with the unaided eyes, all those luminaries are found lined up together in one place, all at the same time. And it's at the dawn of the summer solstice in the Northern Hemisphere. At dawn, just when the day is being lit up by the sun, you will find Mercury, Venus, the moon, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn are all visible in the sky together, on what happens to be the summer solstice in the Northern Hemisphere, the longest day of the year. And if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, that would be the winter solstice, or the shortest day of the year for you. So a very special day to find all of the 7 visible luminaries together on the east side of that special cross of the north-south meridian line and the arc of the ecliptic. The east, where everything rises in the real all-seeing eye in the sky. In the east, where things begin or reset. This is why this very rare event, where all of the visible luminaries are seen all together, are here on the dawn of the summer solstice of 2022 in the sky in the east. And this is being called the Great Reset, because it really is a great reset in the sky. But this insane cult of people, full of bad actors, are acting out all over screens here on the ground this great reset in ways that most people would have a difficult time imagining that they would, even when it's right in front or even when it's on their own faces. Now, it's not just all 7 visible luminaries that are found all together to the east side of the special cross of the north-south meridian line and the arc of the ecliptic, but Neptune and Uranus, the 2 planets left that you need a telescope to see, they're both there too. So that means that's every luminary in our solar system accounted for. And that's why this is the Great Reset. This is a rare and beautiful celestial event in the sky, and evidence of an unimaginable intelligent creator who created it. And this is being corrupted and acted out on the world stage here on the ground by an insane cult of people in the most ugly ways. Now remember what I said earlier about Pluto being downgraded from being called our 9th planet of the solar system in 2006, and that we would find out here at the end the real reason why that is. Well, it's this. It's because the cult who occults this highest knowledge made the same discovery that we did. It's because on the dawn of summer solstice of 2022 in the Northern Hemisphere, during the Great Reset in the sky, Pluto isn't joining the other luminaries to the east side of the special cross of the north-south meridian line in the arc of the ecliptic. Pluto is doing its own thing over to the west side. This is the real reason Pluto is no longer called a planet in our solar system, because it's found to not be part of the Great Reset in the sky, and so it got kicked off the stage. We get much more into this advanced territory in our private videos. Check the links below to get to our website and send us an email about them if you're ready to learn for yourself how to decode or unlock many mysteries about how our world really works. You can also subscribe here on our channel for more videos for beginners to learn the basics in alternative astronomy that we've been learning here. We've got books, merch, and much more that you can find on our website, starsnearme.com. As well, you can find our blog posts to learn more. And if nothing else, be sure to wake up and step outside the hour before the sun rises on the day surrounding the summer solstice of 2022, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. That would be the winter solstice of 2022, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. Look up and witness for yourself the hour before the sun rises, the Great Reset in the sky. You find it by facing due south and looking up. Until next time, stay lit and be well.